So Uriel is an amazing band. This album, Multiverse, is quite captivating. How did the process to create this album go about?
Thank you first. I appreciate it. It was a very cool album to record because we had a new lineup and we haven't really recorded anything together before the album. So when we went into the studio, we had kind of ideas of how the album would sound, but not really. Like I had no idea, like some of the lines that they were going to add on the cello or on the violin. And like once we got the final version, it was like a complete new thing, and like it sounded amazing. But it was a very fun album to work on, and I felt like it came out way better than what we expected. And we yeah, that's pretty much what we did with the album.
That's awesome. The final track, I can't remember the name of it right now, but it is incredible. It definitely brings everything together, and it's a great culmination of everything. Um, how was it for you guys to build up this track? And was this always the order you guys envisioned for this album?
Actually, I had to kind of force people to agree to have that track on the album, because okay, so like a little part of the harp was written by my bassist. He sent it to me on my birthday. It was like, "Happy birthday, Gaia! This is your song," and it was like Gaia's Dream, I think it was called. And I listened to it. And I was just like, "Oh, there's so much stuff that I can do with this," and like I feel like we could expand this song and being like an entire thing. And I really wanted to have one acoustic song on the album. I felt like it would be cool to like start with the harp at the beginning and just end with like this big beautiful song. And so when I had to fight a little bit to have it, because they were like, well, we're a heavy band, we're not supposed to have a harp and like awesome, I don't know, like beautiful vocals and stuff. And it's like, no, it really fits with the album. So I pushed, and we ended up like recording it for Multiverse. And when we were recording in the studio, it was actually my first time recording harp ever. And it was in a very professional studio too. So I was like very nervous. But the producer that we had, he was like very patient with me, and like he had a lot of ideas. So like all the harmonies on the vocal, they were like his idea. I had like my bass line, and he had it like a bunch of like idea. He was like, "Oh, can you try to sing this?" Da, da, da. And I would like go and like do like full power on those notes, and it just sounded like incredible at the end. I remember my cellist, she was in the other room, and I could see her just crying when I was recording the vocal. She was just like freaking out with the song, and she was one of the person that was like the most against that song to begin with.
Wow. Yeah, and talking about the harp, that is very rare to see in music in general. Even more rare when, like you said, in a heavier genre.
Mhm.
Um, what made you decide to include the harp?
I've been obsessed with harp since I was a kid. Like my dad can would swear the same thing. When I was very, very young, I really loved the harp, but I always felt like they were like out of reach because they're like so rare and they're like so beautiful instrument. And like I had never really seen one live. And then there was like one time in my 20s, I think I was 25, and I had a moment that was just like, I'm gonna play harp. And it's just like everything was, I was focused on that for like a whole year. I wanted to play harp. I wanted to have a harp. And like for months and months and months, I would just go on like Craigslist and stuff and like try to like see if someone had posted a harp for sale. And I finally found one, and that's the one that I used on Multiverse. And that one was like very expensive for me. I was a student living by myself. I didn't have a lot of money, but I really wanted to have that harp, and it was like way too expensive for me. So I contacted the seller, and I asked her if I could do multiple payments to her to get the harp. And she was so nice to me, and like she said yes. And like I put my trust on her to not steal my money, and she put her trust on me to like actually buy the harp and like go through the process of buying it. And it took me, I think it took me 4 months. I had a cello, but at that time, and I sold the cello. I was eating ramen and like pieces of bread. That was like my whole nutrition at that moment, just because I wanted to save as much money as I could to finally pay my harp. And when I got it, I cried like crazy. It was like the most beautiful thing. And now I have 3 of them, so things do work out in the end. Like I have the one that I have on Multiverse is a Celtic harp, so they're like a little bit bigger, but not like they're like with levers. I have a little one that's pink that I really love. It's very like I can walk with it. It's very light. And I don't know if you can see, I have like this big one that's like the one that I got last month or the month before. It's a pedal harp. That one is something.
Wow. Yeah. That's incredible. I think that the harp just on its name alone is very harmonious and it's beautiful. And along with your vocals are amazingly beautiful. And you contrast that with your other vocalist is very rough metal grunt type vocals. How did that come about? Was that always the intention to have both of them mixed together, or was there one that was I guess more showcased than the other?
So when the band was born, it was a solo project from my bassist, and it was just like 3 people. It was him with 2 other people, and they were playing shows. They were like, it was a black metal project, and like those records are like lost, like nobody has them anymore. And then eventually they wanted to have someone to just do a little bit of like female vocal on it, so they got another singer. Her name is Ariane Fleury. She used to sing for try to remember, she sang on 2 albums for Uriel, but she also there's a band she's in, it's Empire, it's like a local band here. She's a very classical singer, very beautiful voice, very like big voice. So she did 2 albums with them, and eventually like they part ways, and the song didn't feel the same without having like a female vocal. So I was like in between bands. I had been fired for the band that I was in before, and I was like looking to maybe eventually have a band, but I was not really like ready for that. I was just like, it was too much heartache with the band before, and I am not join a band anymore. That is way too much work for like the result. And my cellist, she talked to a friend that we have in common, and he told her that I didn't have any band right now, and that I would probably be a good fit for the band. So she messaged me, and she asked me if I could I would be paid to play 2 shows with them because they had booked some stuff. And I said, yeah, sure, but I'm not joining your band. Like, I'm not interested in joining the band. We had 2 weeks. I practiced all the songs, and like then we did the show, and it was so much fun that they asked me if I wanted to stay. I was like, yeah, fine, I'm staying. I really love the music. And so we did 1 album that was already written when I joined the band, that was Remain of Innocence, the one right before Multiverse. And so the vocals on the album are not as comfortable as in the new album. Like I feel like I took more space in the new album. The one before was like kind of like, you know, like you're trying to figure out where you fit, trying to play with new musician that you don't know too. So it's when the music is already written, it's kind of harder too, because you can't really ask them to write a song just because you don't like the space that you have. But now with Multiverse, if I wanted to have more space, I could just ask him. Like we would just like redo the song and it would be fine, and I would have enough space. So I think they didn't think that I would end up taking so much space. But I feel like everybody's really happy with the album we produced all together, and I know the next album is going to be even better, because like now we've played together for years, and I've been in that band for almost 9 years, so like it's been a long journey for us.
Yeah, that's awesome. But coming into a band where you already had to replace a woman singer, did you ever feel like you had to mimic what she did, or was it always something that you brought to the group?
It was hard because I got lucky in the sense that we didn't play a lot of the old songs. We only played there's like 2 songs where she sung that we still play live. But those 2 songs were really hard for me to sing, because I'm a mezzo soprano, so I'm a little bit lower than a soprano, and she's like full soprano, and I tried to do those vocals, but it's like, this is like, it doesn't sound right. Like my voice doesn't sound right at this like height, and So I end up, I think after like, you know, like a few years being with the band, some of the song I just, that we still played where she had a voice on the song before me, I adapted and I sing it my own way. But at the same time, there's no song that are actually released where she sung them doing live anymore. Like all the songs that we're playing, even the one for the album before, like it's on my voice. But it was big shoes to fill because she's, like I said, she's a very talented musician. She's a very classical singer. She has a very beautiful voice, and I feel like I'm kind of like in between classical singer and like a pop singer, I would say. So for me, it was like, okay, I want to do my own thing, and I want to be my own person. But it was big shoes to fill.
It's awesome. And you talked a little bit about, the next album be going to be even better because you guys have played for a while now. Does that mean that you guys are already started working on something new?
We have most of the album written, but there's still a lot of stuff that needs to be work on. Like I haven't put vocals on it yet, but like all the music is mostly like the base of the songs are written. It's just like I need to put the work on it. And on the next album, we want to have a little bit more harp. Because on Multiverse you only have like 3 plays in the album that has harp, and now that I'm a better musician, I guess, because like it's been years and like I've been playing for a while now. I think for the next album I'm going to be able like to add a little bit more, and also now that I have like the big harp, I'm a little bit less limited when it comes to key and like what key I can play. So yeah, we're working on the new album. It's coming very slowly, but it's my fault. It's not the band. Like they're doing amazing. I'm just the one like slowly trying to catch up with them.
So does that mean we could expect it sometime soon? Maybe like in the next couple of years?
I feel like maybe 1 or 2 years. I
Okay.
think that would be, usually it would take like 4 to 5 years each album, so we're very slow.
That's awesome, though. You guys are an amazing band. Thank you very much for your time. This Multiverse album is incredible, and you are definitely a good addition to this band.
Thank you. I appreciate it.